Welcome to Have History Will Travel, your supercharged dose of history. Today's video will be concentrating on a long-standing perception of the Civil War. When we think of the Civil War battles, we imagine bloody battles where the introduction of rifled muskets produced abnormally large casualties because of the weaponry's outpacing of the tactics. In 2008, historian Earl Hess published The Rifle Musket in Civil War Combat, Reality and Myth. In it, he destroys that perception as a complete myth, and he does so with incredible accuracy, pun intended. Two of the most famous and widely used of the rifle muskets during the Civil War is the 1855 Springfield, featured below, and the 1853 Enfield, featured above. These are the weapons that Hess concentrates on. They have an effective range of between 500 and 900 yards. Let's go back in time for a few moments and look at the predecessor to the rifle musket, the smoothbore musket. These weapons were most commonly used during the American Revolution and Napoleonic Wars. There was a trial run of those muskets during that time. The following results were 60% hit ratio at 82 yards away, 40% hit ratio at 164 yards away, 25% hit ratio at 246 yards away. One has to remember that these trial shots are done under ideal conditions and performed by crackshot marksmen. So let's see how that plays out in a battle. Let's look at the Battle of Albuera during the Peninsula War. Two brigades faced one another in this engagement. Out of 40,800 rounds of ammunition fired, only 5.5% hit a person from a distance of about 30 to 40 yards. This is well below the trial that I mentioned earlier, because battles are never in an ideal situation that would allow a soldier to take full advantage of his weapon. Even when looking at crack shots in the Civil War armies, Hess highlights accounts of the best marksman in a regiment being unable to hit his target because of excitement, fear, religious beliefs that taught them not to take another human life, and being unable to see a target even though their officers ordered them to shoot. Did crack shots make up the majority of soldiers? The answer is simply no. One of the reasons for that is the training, or lack thereof. The U.S. Army did not institute a true system of rifle training in the 1850s. Once the Civil War broke out, the training was sporadic and uneven, but we do find that training increased dramatically in the last 2 years of the war. But still, rifle training varied widely, with varying results that does not inspire lots of confidence in the soldiers' abilities. Plus, most civilians would not have had access to the Menet system of weaponry to have prior knowledge to service. Beyond the human factor of the difficulty in seeing a human-sized target 500 to 900 yards away, the terrain of battlefields varied, and they more often than not included hills, mountains, and dense woods. Therefore, the range of the rifle musket would not be advantageous. Another issue comes with the parabolic curve that accompanies the rifle musket. After about 75 yards, the bullet rises and comes down about 115 yards later, meaning anyone past 75 yards is safe until around 200-yard mark from the shooter. Plus, there was a little to no training that would help soldiers account for this in battle. For the Battle of Stones River, we have a great number of statistics because Union General Rosecrans himself wanted to understand the accuracy of his army. By dissecting those numbers, it took 10 artillery rounds and 250 musket rounds to kill one man each. Not a great statistic for a supposedly advanced weapon. Again, Hess wants readers to understand the overwhelming human factor in all of this. Another study demonstrates that the majority of engagements occurred within 100 yards or closer of one another, which is more like the effective range of a smoothbore musket. Whether battles included smoothbores or rifles, they produced roughly the same hit ratios. In conclusion, Civil War tactics were not out of date. Weaponry might have advanced, but the training did not. Therefore, soldiers could not capitalize on its effectiveness. Troops were not trained how to account for the parabolic curve, which heavily influenced its accuracy. The terrain in war never produced the ideal conditions with which an Enfield or Springfield could shoot over 500 to 900 yards. Most battles took place within less than 100. Finally, soldiers get scared and excited. They have a conflict with their conscience about killing someone. Each of these emotions influence a soldier's ability to fire accurately. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Come back soon for another episode of Half History Will Travel.